Today's project, I needed a small compression spring and I wasn't able to find the size I needed commercially. So I've got 18 inches, if you can see that or not, of 17,000 of an inch spring wire. I'm told guitar string is pretty much the same stuff. It should work fine. And I've got about 8 or 9 inches of mandrel that was cut out of an old coat hanger. So there's nothing fancy about this at all. So what you do is, you've got a variable speed electric drill mounted in a vise of some sort. I used a Black & Decker Workmate. You put the mandrel in that. There's a steady block on this end to keep the mandrel from bending when you're winding the spring. We're going to insert the wire like so it crosses one jaw of the chuck and it's pinched against the mandrel. That's going to be your starting point for your spring. So you bend that upwards, make a few turns by hand just to start the end of the spring. I would strongly recommend you do what I'm going to do and use a set of pliers of some sort to hold the end of the wire, because if you don't, it's really easy to cut yourself. You slowly turn the drill on. I'm using a foot pedal for that. And you wind about 8 or 10 very tight coils in the end of the spring. That'll keep it square when it comes under load. Then you change the angle, open it up slightly of the wire, and you start winding the working portion of your spring. Just like that. And there's no big hurry, you can take your time with this. You just keep feeding the pliers and the wire in. Like so. At this point, you bring your wire back to about a 90-degree angle to the mandrel, and you're going to put this same thing on this end, a working end on the spring. Just like that. So at this point, you've got your spring pretty much finished, except for you remove the mandrel from the drill, like so. Set that aside. Small pair of side cutter pliers. You're going to go in and nip those ends off that are loose. You don't need those for anything unless you were making a tension spring, and we're not today. Just like so. And there is your spring. Now, I have a small pair of forceps here, and we're just going to tuck that loose end in a little bit tighter, like so it won't scratch any bore that it's put into. And we're going to do the same with this end, just like if I can get it, just like that. There's your finished spring. You may need a little bit of tweaking to make it perfectly straight. If you're really fussy, you can grind those ends flat if you need them flat. And that spring is just right around 2 inches long. Thank you for tuning in.